What's going on, KP Mini owners? Alright, this is going to be a short video. I had planned to kind of make a little bit longer video out of it, but I forgot to record a bunch of stuff. So anyway, here's what we got here. This is the original rear rack on the 2021 blue KP Mini. And for those of you out there who are wanting another rack, well, here's what you do. This was an Amazon special rear rack for a Honda Grom. So I thought it was like 52 bucks. I thought, well, you know what? I'm just going to get one of these things and see if I can make it fit. You know, I got a welder, I got the plasma cutter, which I think I gotta do a video on that, and then if I get that out, you'll see that this rack is sitting on the table uncut, and I had marks on it. Well, bon photo bomb. Okay, the original rack sits in here like this. Well, what I ended up having to do is really not a whole lot. I did, and of course I got to bolt it in here, but I had to cut a hole here, here, you know, elongate that one in here. What I ended up doing though is I did weld some metal back into these, you know, so it would have a better fit. And I had to cut out along here and cut out along here so it would sit down. And I did put some washers underneath here to kind of level it up a little bit, but it sits pretty good. Not totally impressed with the amount of space that you have back here. I mean, I haven't tried setting like a milk crate or anything on it, but I mean, a milk crate's going to stick out quite a bit, probably out to where my hand is. So I thought about, well, my original plan was to find, you know, metal, you know, like these sizes, and, you know, practice my welding, which, you know, I pretty much suck at, and see if I could get a pipe bender at, you know, Harbor Freight, and see if I could just make my own. Well, you know, that was going to get rather costly, so I went the $52 route, and to see if I could actually make something and make it fit and work, and it does. Now, you're probably asking, well, how much is a rear rack for a KP Mini? Well, number one, if you can find one, great. But number two, I did find a site that had one, but it came with one of those Givey boxes on the back, and it was like $300. I didn't want to spend $300, you know, for a rear rack setup. So I decided to go the $52 route and see if I can modify this thing, which has worked out perfectly fine. And honestly, I did use the plasma cutter on this. You know, I was testing on some of these things here, but you could just use a regular, you know, crappy metal cutter you get at Harbor Freight, you know, a little grinder. So, you know, to cut that, and if you're careful, you don't necessarily need to weld these back in if you just cut your holes, you know, and measure them. I'm usually, you know, I tried to be a little careful, but so I figured, well, if I screw up, I got a welder, I can weld some metal back in, which is what I did. Now I may end up extending the back of this out a little bit if I can find some of this kind of tubing, you know, and then grind it and attach it and make it just a little bit longer, or get on Amazon and see if I can find a small bag that will fit. And you can see that you put the seat on, it sits down here just fine, and that's what the seat attached in. So actually turned out pretty good. So this is a quick little update to this worthless little rack that's back here. And if you want to do it, it's 52 bucks. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description. And, you know, like I said, you don't necessarily have to have a welder, but those are actually pretty cheap on Amazon too. But, you know, you can use your metal cutoff tool, Harbor Freight Special. I think this thing's maybe like 25 bucks or so. And to cut everything out. So, and that will work just fine. And get you a step bit if you need to elongate the holes or make them a little bit bigger, which this is a step bit. Actually I have a lot bigger one, real big fat one, and that'll work too. So you don't necessarily have to have a welder and you don't have to have a plasma cutter, although, you know, the plasma cutter is 150 bucks. I would not recommend this brand because then you got to buy a separate cord if you want to run 220, unless you want to rewire the whole thing, which I didn't feel like doing. But I'm going to go over there in another video. This is your typical Mig Welder from Harbor Freight. It is set up for gas, but they do have one that you don't have to use gas, and you could use the flux core solder. So there again, but you know, then you got to buy a helmet, and you got to get gloves, and then you got other crap. But I mean, it comes in handy if you want to weld stuff, so I mean, I guess that's a good thing. But anyway, just kind of wanted to go over that and let you guys know that yes, you can get a rack for the back of your KP Mini and not spend a fortune doing it. So if you got anything out of this video, hit that like button or subscribe. And if you guys want to see anything else done to the Mini, I know the orange one, I've got the KP Moto exhaust on it, and I do not have it up here. So, and it's too freaking cold to ride anyway, so maybe come springtime I'll do a video on the KP Moto exhaust, but I did do that on the orange one. So but anyway, stay tuned. Like I said, you got any suggestions on some Mini content or some things you'd like to see, I do have the dual sport tires, which are in Florida, so the next time I'm down there I gotta mail them up here. And hope you enjoyed it, and see you guys soon.